Hey everybody, Dr. Diane, your libido expert here. We're talking about the pelvic floor and what this has to do with your libido, with sex, and more. So, pelvic floor muscles luckily are being talked about more and more, but essentially these are muscles that are in a hammock type of shape that actually make up kind of the bottom area of your pelvis. So these muscles are related to things like not only urination, but defecation. And therefore, not only are they important for sex, they are important for preventing incontinence. And we're going to talk about this in a few part series, but one of the things that I want to talk about in this video is these muscles. Oftentimes, we can't even conceptualize where these muscles are. Now, in Kegels, sometimes if you look up how to do a Kegel, it'll tell you how to, pretend to stop urinating, not actually do that, but pretend like you're urinating and stop the urination, and those are the muscles you use. So that's sort of a helpful exercise. In some ways, it brings more awareness to the pelvic floor, but it's not really engaging all of the muscles of the pelvic floor. So there's a few different ways that we can actually find these muscles, and the reason that finding these muscles are really important is when we are strengthening them or when we're using them, we need to be able to locate them with our brain. And so many people have this dysfunction that is so natural that happens over time without the awareness of we almost lose that connection, right? So if you've ever lifted something heavy, here's an example. If you've ever lifted something heavy, oftentimes people will say, use your legs. So what do we do when we lift something heavy when we say use our legs? We actually bring our brain's focus to our legs. We change our posture and we think about pushing up, if you're doing it correctly, pushing up from, say, a squat position and using your glutes, using your hamstrings, using your quads, right? And so you're really trying to engage your lower leg muscles to take pressure off your back. So that's what happens when we can actually find our muscles, right? We can say, okay, well, we're going to push using our glutes, we're using our hamstrings, using our quads, we're going to push off the floor and engage those muscles to protect the back. So that's talked a lot about with heavy weights. And usually people, when you say that, can think about, okay, I'm going to engage my glutes, I'm going to engage my quads, and I'm going to push, right? So that typically is fairly easy for people to conceptualize. Now, oftentimes, because we don't typically say things in life like use your pelvic floor, even though perhaps we should, there's been a lot of inability, a lot of, say, the brain connection to the body actually being able to find these muscles sometimes gets very, very, very disconnected. And so there's a couple things you can do to help with this connection. One exercise is very simple, is basically putting lying down on the floor with your feet on the floor, getting into basically a bridge, a position to get ready to do a bridge, getting a rolled up towel, putting that towel between your legs, and then actually pushing up into a bridge. In order to do that and keep the towel in place, so you're squeezing the towel with your inner thighs, you're going to be using some of your pelvic floor. So when you do that, really thinking about what muscles are actually contracting to actually do that helps with that re-engagement. Another exercise that I really like is essentially doing lying on the ground. So you're lying on your back, your feet are just in the air, relaxed, and then you windshield wiper your feet in and out, like you're basically windshield wiping them. You can do it to one side, you can do it to another, you can do them in opposite directions. But essentially what you're doing is you're trying to feel the muscles. When you windshield wiper your feet, you are going to be engaging some of the muscles of the pelvic floor. And if you do this, and if you're a female and you actually insert a couple fingers intravaginally and push against the canal, against the outer walls of the vagina, you can actually, and then you windshield wiper your feet, you can actually feel intravaginally, you can feel those muscles. So this is another exercise that I really like to help you begin to find these muscles of the pelvic floor. In the next video coming up here, we're going to talk about then once you find them, what you can do to strengthen them, difference between Kegels and other exercises. And again, the reason we want to find this is, one, we want those muscles to be strong, because those muscles being strong as we age actually protect against things like incontinence, both urinary and fecal incontinence. And both of those are things we don't want. But also, this helps us keep our posture in alignment. So it really helps to protect the back. It really helps against pain. It really helps against pelvic pain. And it also, when we engage these muscles in sex, we actually can control orgasms better, not only of ourselves, but if you're a female and you're having heterosex, you can actually control the orgasms of your partner better, because you can actually stimulate with the contractions of the pelvic floor. You can actually stimulate the erection and the erectile strength in different amounts. So if you feel like a partner is getting close and you're not ready to orgasm yet and you want more time, you can actually back off on the contractions. You can increase the contractions in a way to bring more stimulation. So this is a way of actually working and supporting a partner's ability to control when they ejaculate and time they last and how long you guys get to engage sexually. And when we're talking about an intercourse scenario, all of that you can do in part by controlling the pelvic floor and learning how to find these muscles. So I'd invite you to start with this exercise, and then we'll do more in our next video. Please do subscribe to this channel if it's been helpful, and I'll see you in another video.